grade 11 pre-cal, lesson 54, quadratic inequalities in one variable. So what we've done now is we've gone and got rid of y. So if you look at this, we got x squared minus 2x minus 3 greater than, less than or equal to 0. So we're not talking about any y part. So what we're talking about is we're talking about everything on the x-axis. Now I know this one has an x and a y. I'm just doing this so you can see what it would look like. If there was y involved in this, this is what this quadratic would look like. But what are the key points here? Well, the key points have to do with the x-intercepts. So -1 and +3, right? So for which, look at the values here. Which part of it falls between -1 and 3? Right there, yeah. Well, that's everything between those two is below the x-axis. Everything less than -1 or greater than +3 is above the x-axis. So when we're doing questions like this, we basically want to break it down into its roots. That's what we're looking for. So here we go. So x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Break it down into its roots, right? You factor it. And of course, if it doesn't factor this way, we're going to have to do the quadratic, which you'll see on one of the examples coming up. We're going to use a quadratic. So we have x equals 3 and x equals -1. Now, if you notice, right, why are they solid dots, not open circles? Oh, okay, because it's less than or equal to, right? So basically what we're looking for is we're looking for answers either below this, between these two, or above it. And it's always going to be in a pattern. It's either going to be on the outside here, both sides, or it's going to be in the middle, right? So what we do is we put it on a number line. We put our points here. Now we put the inequalities here. Everything here, x is less than -1, or x is, well, I'm missing something here, aren't I? What am I missing? I'm missing, let's fix this right now before I forget. Less than or equal to, right? Oh boy, can't believe I forgot that. There we go. Now it's fixed. Okay, so we can do that there. And let's pick some test points. So everything less than -1, so pick -2. Now again, you can pick anything. Between -1 and 3, pick 0. Greater than 3, pick 5. So just plug it in. So what you do is you plug it in the original equation, and you find out it's 5, -3, and 12. Okay, well, what does that tell you? Well, look back at the original here. So what we're looking for is right, less than or equal to 0. Less than or equal to 0. What's that mean? We're looking for negatives. There it is. There's the negative. You see the other ones are positive. Okay, so do you see the pattern here? No, yes, no. If it was the other way around, it would be yes, no, yes. That's always going to work that way. So we know the answer is between -1 and 3, so you can do it in interval notation. Or if you want to do it in set notation, you can do the fancy way, right? Impress all your friends by doing it this way. And the nice thing about it is, if you look up here, we already did all the work. Oh, yeah. Right? So x is less than or -1, x is greater than 3. Here's the middle one here, -1 less than or equal to x, less than or equal to 3. If you put it up here, saves you doing it later on down the bottom. So it's either going to be, right? It's either going to be outside here or inside. This question is in the inside. Okay, so flip page. Let's go to example number 2. We'll do another one. So -x squared plus x plus 12 is less than 0. So again, let's factor this. Take out the -1. You end up with your positive quadratic here. Factor it. You end up with x equals -3 and x equals 4. Okay, now put them on the number line. Why did we use open circles? Because it's less than, not less than or equal to. It's just less than. So we put our points on here. Now, the solution is either going to be on the left and on the right, or in the middle. So let's set up our inequalities. So x is less than -3. -3 is less than x, less than 4. That's the middle part here. Or x is greater than 4. That's the right-hand part. Pick your test points. So since it starts at -3, I pick -5. Here in the middle, I pick 0. This side, I pick 5. It doesn't make any difference what you pick. It's going to work out. So plug them into the equation. We end up with -18, 12, and -8. Well, what does that tell you? We'll look back at the original here. Less than 0. Less than 0, which means the answer has to be negative. Oh, look, it's negative there and negative there. And does it fit our pattern? Yes, no, yes. Yeah, don't do a question like this and just don't do one side and assume the rest is all the same. Do all three, because, for instance, if you got yes, 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 or no, 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 you know you made a mistake someplace. The pattern is either going to be no, yes, no, or yes, no, yes. That's the only two. So if you look here, there's our pattern because it's the negative. So the answers are going to be this one here. X is less than -3, or x is greater than 4. So we put it in here. x is less than -3 or x is greater than 4. Or you can do an interval notation. That little symbol, right, shows you that it's OR. Now, some of you might already get this part. You can do what's called just sign analysis. You're not looking at the numbers, you're just looking at the math. You remember back to discriminants, right? Remember to tell whether or not there's one x-intercept, 0 x-intercepts, or no x-intercepts. We just looked at the discriminant. All we cared about was either it was positive, negative, or 0. So in this case, you're looking at it, you can do the math, you can see how it's negative, positive, negative. That's a faster way to do it. Now, if you don't understand that, don't stress. This way that I showed you up here works every single time. Now, those two examples were with lovely quadratics that factored. Let's look at the third one. Oh, guess what's going to happen here? So we got 2x squared minus 7x greater than 12. First off, stop. It has to be with the 0 on the end. So you got to move the 12. Don't make the mistake and try to do all the math without that. Move the 12 over. So then we have a quadratic. Oh boy. Doesn't factor, so we got to use the quadratic formula. So we pull it out, plug in all the numbers. So we end up with, once we do the quadratic, we end up with 7 plus or minus square root of 145 over 4. Well, how the heck do you put that on a number line? Well, what I did is I did some approximations here. Grabbed my calculator and did approximations. So negative 1.3 and positive 4.8. That's just to help us make a visual image of this. So there's our number line. We put our points on there. There they are. Open circle because it's greater than. Okay, then we plug in some points. So we pick -3, 0, and 6. Yeah, we did that. Plug them in. We end up with 39, 0, and 30. Okay, look back at the original. The original is greater than 12. Which one of these is greater than 12? Well, the first part and the last one. Hey, does it fit our pattern? Yes, it does. Yes, no, yes. Okay, well, how do we use that stuff? Well, we use the 1.3, negative 1.3, and the 4.8 just to get us through the math here. Here's the original solution. So we got to use our quadratic. So x is less than that, or x is greater than that. Or if you want to do interval notation, right? Negative infinity all the way up to this, or, right, that's what that symbol is, this to positive infinity. So it's a little more work doing this one, but the pattern's still the same, right? Go back to the original, make it either greater than, less than, or greater than, equal to, less than, equal to 0. Factor it if you can normally. If not, you're going to use the quadratic. Put them on the number line. Set up your things here. So either below or above or between. Pick your test points. Follow the pattern, and it should follow the pattern either yes, no, yes, or no, yes, no, and then create your solution based on that. If you follow that, you should have no problem.